Shalom, Yashrallah. This is your brother Dawadah from GMS St. Petersburg, Florida, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahawah, Bahashem, YAHAWASHI, Bahashem, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of great MILLSTONE that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you all pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. All right, so I want to go back in on why we call Esau the devil, or why we call the so-called white man the devil. All right, which is, according to the scriptures, Esau or Edom, the so-called white man. All right, so I'm gonna jump into this here lesson. I'm gonna start out here in 2 Thessalonians, actually. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3. It says, "Let no man deceive you." Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And that's what we here doing now. We reveal that man of sin and the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things, and now you know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed at his time. And so what all the things that was written aforetime was written for our learning and our understandings. All right, this is the so-called the description or the model. Like, let's say the police is looking for somebody. They're like, well, what's the suspect look like? It's a black male wearing a white t-shirt, about 6'2". He's got a red baseball cap on, driving a green pickup truck, headed southbound around this here area, And so you scour that area and you're looking for somebody that will match up to their description. All right. And then that's how you would know, okay, this is a possibility of who it is. All right. And so that's what we're doing here now. All right. We looking at all these different things that the scriptures say. All right. About the so-called, about the devil and how the devil would be. All right. And we looking around the planet Earth and we seeing who lines up to that. All right. We can find out who we are according to the same way we can find out who we are according to the curses and according to, the description of the children of Israel. All right. When you write all that down and you take a look around the planet Earth and see what people fit that, it would be who? The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. And vice versa with the so-called white man. Right. When you're looking for who's the devil, you make a checklist and you go down the list. It's the so-called white man. All right. It says, verse 7, "For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And then shall the wicked be revealed." All right. And that's what we're doing right now. We're revealing the wicked. All right. "Whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming." And that's exactly where we at now. All right. The Lord has got his men out there in the highways and the byways and on these video epistles, putting up these video epistles exposing the so-called white man, Esau Edom. All right. Let me grab this is Job 9 and 24. It says, "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?" All right. Now, let's not talk about the covering of the faces of the judges. I've done plenty of videos on that. But nevertheless, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. If not, who and where is he? All right. All right. So we's telling you that the so-called white man is the devil. All right. He's the God of this here earth right now. He's the one ruling right now in all our wickedness. All right. So like the scriptures say, if not, where and who is he? If the so-called white man ain't the devil, like we calling out him as the so-called devil. All right. And you say it's not him, then who else is he? Who else is doing all these different things on the planet Earth that's destroying people's lives? All right. The so-called white man. All right. So let me go from there to the topic at hand. All right. This is Genesis chapter 1. This is Genesis 1 and 26. I'm going to read it verbatim. It says, "And God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." So God, or the powers, created man in his own image. So the image of God created he him, male and female he created them. All right. "And God blessed them, and God said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth." All right. So this is in the time of creation. All right. Where YAHAWASHI and the rest of the angels was out there. They was creating basically they was creating man. Right. So it says, you know, and now I'll just read it verbatim because we're not going to go too far into that lesson, but that's where you get the us from. That's the us that's talking. But reading verbatim, it says, and God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. Oh, let me go down to verse 27. So God created man in his own image and created him, male and female created he them. So we're going to just say verbatim when reading verbatim, when God created man, male, human beings, basically to say, all right, he created two sexes, male and female. All right, you have a male and then you had a female, only two sexes, how they would say in today's terminology, two genders. All right. Now today, in today's times, you have all kind of the so-called white man who is ruling over the earth. All right, just telling people that they can have a billion different genders. You know, if you want to, you know, you wake up one day and you feel like, you know, if you biologically a male, all right, and you wake up one day and you feel like you want to be a woman or a dragon or a dinosaur or a cupcake or a crayon or a water bottle, you can pick that as your gender. And people have to, they don't have to, but according to Esau, in his mind, you have to so-called respect that, you know. If somebody want to call themselves a water bottle or a cupcake, you know what I'm saying, and they happen to walk into a store and you've never seen this person in your life, you know, like, oh, how you doing today, sir? You know, because it's clearly a male, you know, and you just address them like that, you know, like, oh, I'm offended that you didn't call me a cupcake or a water bottle, you know, and I'm like, man, bruh, the Most High only created two genders, male and female, all right? You can only be a man or a male, a man or a female, all right? And even, you know, science itself, even, you know, the so-called white man like to go into so-called science, but really science goes into knowledge, all right? But according to the so-called white man's science and things like that he'll tell you, all right, where you have, and I'm not 100% sure about this, but I believe it's, you have what? Females have like, I think, two X chromosomes or something like that, and the male have an X and a Y chromosome, all right? So, and whenever I talk about this, I always give this analogy, you know, no matter what you're trying to dress up yourself up as, you know, let's say you a man and you want to cross dress like a woman, or let's say you were biologically born a man and you had a sex change, right? Or, you know, this dealing with, you know, genders and stuff like that. But nevertheless, if you want to be like a Michael Jackson and change your skin color and things like that, you know, because it even still goes that far, all right, for the point I'm trying to make. All right, no matter how you dress it up on the outside, what you look like on the outside, if a man go get a whole reconstructive surgery to get all his organs or whatever, whatnot, like a female, and he look like a female, get plastic surgery, look like a straight up female, get all this estrogen or whatever, whatnot, all right, the DNA inside that human being, all right, it's still going to show forth that it would, if it was born a male, it was still going to show forth that it has those same DNA chromosomes, all right? That's not going to ever change. You can't change that, all right? But nevertheless, the so-called white man is portraying and pushing this here out, all right? You don't see the Chinese man out here pushing this out amongst the whole planet Earth. The Arab man is not pushing this amongst the whole planet Earth. The Africans aren't pushing this among the whole planet Earth. Who's doing this? It's the so-called white man, all right? Only the so-called white man is coming up with all these different this bullshit. He's like the main drag queen type of shit that's going on. You know, he don't want to dress up in women's clothes and be homosexual and things like that. That's the so-called white man. All right. That's what's inside his genealogy and things like that. There's plenty of different things you can go into on that. Just looking back at his history in Greece and in Rome and the homosexual acts that they committed back then. All right. So it says, verse 28, and God blessed them. And God said to them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air and over every living thing that moveth on the earth. So the Most High said here, it says, and God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. All right. So going into creating a male and a female. All right. You have the perfect ingredients in order to create life. All right. You have the man with his sperm and the woman to fertilize her eggs with. Right. And they supposed to have sex and replenish the earth. That was what was commanded to them. All right. But now the so-called white man is saying, now look, how do you say, so-called men can have sex with men, women can have sex with women. All right. And so on and so forth. All right. And knowing good and well that that's not reproducing. All right. Then you also pushing things where, oh, you shouldn't reproduce or you shouldn't have kids and all these so-called contraceptives to stop population growth. All right. And then you also doing things like abortion. All right. These things are all contrary against the Most High. All right. But nevertheless, this here lesson is going into pretty much the sexual perversion that the so-called white man is promoting around the planet Earth. All right. So continuing on. This is Genesis chapter 2, verse 24. It says, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall become one flesh. All right. So here you're talking about what? The example that was given, it says, therefore a man shall leave what? His mother, or his father and his mother. So there's a man and a female that produced that child, which is the man who's leaving his mother and his father. He got here through a mother and a father. For what reason is he leaving his parents? All right. And shall cleave unto his wife. So that man is going to another woman, and they shall be one flesh. Now they becoming a family and starting their own deal. All right. But instead, now in today's society, you have man with man and woman with woman. Let's see if I can find that in Romans. This is Romans 1 and I'll start at verse 21, Romans 1 and 21. Because that when they knew the Most High, they glorified him not as the Most High, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish hearts was darkened. All right. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. You know, and hey, I like to always say this about Esau. You know, when you go to these damn colleges, what is the job title of the so-called teachers in the colleges? They're what? Professors. And what do? They profess. And what are they out there spewing? A lot of madness and bullshit from Esau. So they professing themselves to be wise, all right, but yet they become fools, you know, just dealing with the educational system, all right. But what? Our people, you know, the Israelites, they go and they see the so-called white man, they want to be like the so-called white man and all his ways and the things that he's doing. So, like, when we follow them to go to college, right? Then when we go to college, we want to go and do all the stupid shit that they be doing, the sex parties and the orgies and the shit that they be having going on. All right. And the sexual rituals with the fraternities and sororities and things like that. All right. Having sex with animals and all kind of crazy shit like that. So what? Us as Israelites professing ourselves to be wise, we're going to be better than so-called, you know, black people in our minds. We're going to just go and be like the so-called white man and do what he do. All right. Professing ourselves to be wise, we become fools following after him, thinking that the so-called white man is okay. He's a natural born pedophile and a homosexual. That's just what he is. All right. But why do we have to sit over here and follow after him? All right. You become a fool following after this base ass man. This is the basis among all men. All right. He's violating the earth. All right. Romans 1 and 22, professing themselves to be wise, they became fools and changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into the image made like unto corruptible man, and to birds and four-legged beasts and creeping things. So instead of having the image of what the Most High is supposed to be like he said, look, I got laws, statutes, commandments. There's order, there's structure and things like that. Esau come back and recreated God after what? The beasts of the earth and man. And what does that mean? What? Corruptible. All right. Having these corruptible things, like man be going off because he corrupted. You know what I'm saying? The Most High is just and right, because all his judgments, you know, everything he does, he judges it. You see what I'm saying? In righteousness and in truth. All right. So he count the cost of all these different things. Man, they go into their own heart. They lean into their own understanding. All right. So it says, wherefore God gave them up to uncleanliness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of the Most High into a lie, and worship and serve the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. So like I was saying, hey, we go into these damn colleges and follow after these white people, and we start worshiping and following after the so-called white man and his customs instead of the Most High, knowing good and goddamn well, just looking at the fruits that Esau bear, he's a damn reprobate and a homosexual. All right. Sleeping with animals and all kind of perverted shit. All right. Just basically, look, matter of fact, not even to go, because this is some sickness shit. Matter of fact, just go on to any goddamn porn site and look at what the fuck you see on there. All right, the type of debauchery and shit that you got. Motherfucking Esau tying people up and shit. What them shits called, them little black leather suits and shit that they be putting people in. All right, they be having people all tied up, be having like 13, 14 different dudes running through one tied up bitch and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? All kind of perverse shit that they be doing. Sodomy and shit, man. Having sex with animals and shit. All orgies and shit. All of this shit, man. This is what the so-called white man does. Like I said, peeing on people, shitting on people. All kind of crazy, defiled bullshit that homeboy be doing, man. But yet and still, our people follow after they ways. Like, matter of fact, I don't know if this is actually a Jake that sing this song. I don't really even know the song, but I done heard somebody say this shit, made a reference. A couple people made jokes about this shit or whatever, whatnot. But nevertheless, it's a song out there. And like I said, I don't know if this is Jake or not to sing the song. But as an example, right, like I was just saying about the porno and shit, and Esau and all his defiled shit, you just look at any porno site, and that's him in his natural state. That's what the fuck he like doing, right? But see, him with all his sodomy and shit like that, and pissing and shitting on people. That's the type of shit Esau like doing, right? But see, our people go around and following after him. So now you have songs and shit talking about eating booty like groceries and shit. You know what I'm saying? Eating ass. And I heard a couple other rappers and shit talking about that shit, talking about you ain't a man or you ain't a gangster if you ain't eating nobody you ain't eating nobody butt or eating nobody booty cheeks or whatever the fuck they talking about. I'm like, that's some nasty foul shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, before this whole swing of people even mentioning and talking about some shit like that, if you would have said some shit like that, like, niggas, you nasty. Like, come on, bro. Like, for real. Like, you know what I'm saying? You, not to get all graphic and nasty and shit, but I gotta show you how dirty this motherfucker is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you happen to be wiping your ass and you get some shit on your fingers, you can be like, oh, that's some nasty shit right there. How much more you want to put that shit in your mouth? All right? This is who we talking about here. This is the damn devil and his perverseness and the shit that he got going on. All right? And our people, what they follow after this nasty motherfucker and do the same shit that he be doing. But this is why we call you the damn devil, man. Or this is why you are the devil. Not why we call you the devil. This is why you are the devil, man. You have our people follow you anyway because the brainwashing you to put on top of our people. But nevertheless, the perverseness that you be, how do I say, enacting on the planet Earth and in the sight of all kind of men and pushing this here shit on everybody else. Hey, man, there ain't no word for that. That's just an abomination before the Most High, man. That shit's just gross. All right. Going back up, it says, verse 26, for this cause, the Most High gave them up to vile affections, for even the women, let me see, I skipped something. Yeah. Verse 24, wherefore God gave them up to uncleanliness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of the Most High into a lie and worship and serve the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this cause, the Most High gave them up to vile affections, for even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. All right. What's the natural use of your vagina for women? All right. Well, A, you know, you can urinate through it. You know what I'm saying? B, you have sex through it. C, you have children come out of it. All right. That's basically the only things that should be going in and out of there. Right. You know what I'm saying? Well, you have, what do you call them? Health, hygienic products and stuff like that. But there's no need and no reason why you should be sticking no kind of goddamn plastic vibrators and dildos and shit inside your vaginas and shit like that, and all kind of shit, man. They got all kind of just perverse ass shit. So that's not even of nature. That's one of the biggest things that piss me off about so-called women with women. I'm like, wait a minute. Y'all say y'all don't like men, but when you and another woman have sex, y'all get a sex toy, which is a replication of a man's anatomy, and then y'all have sex, and one of y'all is role playing as the man. You see what I'm saying? Even when y'all outside and y'all not having sexual relationships, one of y'all is dressed up like a man anyway. You see what I'm saying? Why don't y'all just get a real man? So again, this is against nature. And even in your perverseness, you still trying to reenact nature just in a perverse way. All right. So you over here having these women now because of Esau Edom. All right. And oh man, just they perverse. I hate talking about this shit, but just they perverseness and shit. Got these women over here, goddamn, with these damn dildos and shit, you know what I'm saying? Putting these shits all up in their bodies and all kind of shit. And really, not to go too far off topic, but like, for the women, here's a tip to you women, man. Y'all, like, just, if you enjoy sex, don't use them shits. Because you'll get to the point to, so I'll give you a real life example, right? I used to work with this nasty ass, heathen Edomite bitch out here where I live at, right? So I used to work with this bitch, one of these little ditzy bitches, drive a little BMW and everything, right? So homegirl she was a slut and everything, be sucking off dudes in the walk-in cooler and everything, right? But homegirl would literally ride around in her car and in her purse. This Edomite bitch would have this long-ass black dildo in her purse, right? She would just ride around with that shit, and she would be happy to show the shit off to any and everybody, right? And so one day I was just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why would you want that? You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, after you get done using that, do you think that any man could, like, you know what I'm saying, give you any kind of pleasure after using that? This shit is not the size of no kind of human being or no shit like this. This is just some bullshit. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just thinking to myself, like, yo, dog, like, you know, for any other thing, like, putting myself in that type of position, like, yo, if I ever had, like, it's kind of hard to go from living in a goddamn mansion with 400 bedrooms to going and living into a 1-bedroom studio. You see what I'm saying? Or being rich your whole life to being on welfare. So that's the analogy I'm giving with this bullshit that what y'all got going on. And this is where these women can't wind up getting off and so on and so forth. You know, if a woman was just like the Bible said, was with one man her whole life, right? Let's say that this man, Well, see, that's where you get all these comparing the men's sizes and stuff like that. You'd have been with one man, then you got with another man who might have been bigger than that guy. Then you might have been with another man who was smaller than the other guy and say, oh, no, he big or he small or whatever, whatnot, or he can't fuck or this, and that. Well, you wouldn't know all of that if you was just with one person. You would think that, okay, well, this person is, hey, this shit's good. This is just what they got. You know what I'm saying? I don't know no better about nothing else, all right? It's just like somebody who only grew up and living in apartments and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? If they never leave the hood to see nothing better than that, they're like, well, shit, I don't see nothing wrong with me living in this apartment. You know what I'm saying? But it's until you show them something real big and this and that, like, oh shit, I'm tired of living this. I want better than that. You see what I'm saying? So that's just, you know what I'm saying, against nature to be using all these different things. You see what I'm saying? How it just ruins your whole life. All right, this is where we at now. Well, all these goddamn overly sexualized women and shit like that. They sex drive, not to say they sex drives all extra high, but you can turn them into like complete horn dogs where they just never satisfied and create more and more STDs on the planet Earth. All right. And unfaithful relationships with these women. All right. But nevertheless, it says, and likewise also the men. See, it's not just about women. Also, likewise also the men leaving the natural use of the woman. All right. Now, what's the natural use of a woman for a man? All right. To reproduce with. Right. So, like, really, hey, just long story short, just reproduce. Because, like, anybody else, like, a man could do anything else with another man. Like, two men can do everything the same as he can do with a woman besides reproduce. You see what I'm saying? Like, we're not trying to be all funny about certain shit like that. But in reality, a man can do everything he can with another man except for basically reproduce. And we're not talking about just like, or they can have sex, they can have animals. We're not talking about that shit. I'm saying like what the real purpose of sex was for. The real purpose of sex was for reproduction. All right. So, and that's the sense that we're talking in. So other than that, a male, a man can get friendship and things like that from another man and so on and so forth, and get, you know what I'm saying, all kind of different things from other men and all these types of things. But the natural use for you to be using a woman for, all right, like we read earlier on in Genesis 3, was or Genesis 2, was that the man should leave his mother and his father to go get his wife, more or less to say, and become one. And become one flesh, to become one family. All right. So that's the natural use of a woman for a man. All right. When you get down to it, it's like to reproduce. This is why you have different anatomies and how they say private parts and stuff like this. This is why, between two different men, the reason y'all got the same anatomy is because it ain't for y'all to so-called, how do you say, reproduce. Now you want to reproduce, therefore you introduce the woman with a different set of organs. If not, we would all be the same if we didn't have to reproduce and stuff like that. All right. But for that cause, that's why that's why you have the difference. All right. But nevertheless, it says, and likewise also the men leaving the natural use of the woman, burning their lust one towards another. All right. Men with men working that which is unseemly. Let me go back. Burning their lust one towards another. All right. And that's one of the other things that you got with these damn men going back into the porno. All right. When you got men that can, how do you say, watch porno all damn day long and this and that, you know what I'm saying? They're getting that so-called, it's going into a psychological fixture. You know, it's the exact same thing. Men with porno, maybe women too. I don't really know, but men with porno is the same thing with like everybody on social media or these women on social media. Every time they get in likes and all this is releasing endorphins. So this is like a drug that it's a constant cycle of a drug that they just constantly get, and they getting that satisfaction, oh, this feel good, that dopamine hit every time that they get a like, a comment or whatever on their social media. All right. It's a sense of achievement. It's same for a man. You know, one of the challenges with a man, and as far as just the natural stuff, is like what? Going out, getting a mate and reproducing and things like that is part of the natural course of life. But yet and still, when a man, especially now where he's sexually deprived, but yet they've had the freedom to go on the internet, like with these sex dolls, the same thing with that bullshit. All right. They can get sex dolls and sex toys. Well, women get the sex toys, but the sex dolls and the porno, and men could just sit there whenever he just had that so-called urge. You know what I'm saying? He just, you know what I'm saying, start going to the porno. All right. Now from there, it just keep going. So you're never going to really be satisfied in no sense like that. All right. For one. Second of all, again, Esau's in control of all this bullshit. He's not showing you first of all, you ain't supposed to be looking at no other person's nakedness and no shit like that. But going into all of that, like, not to say he's not even showing you righteous sex, but he's not. He's showing you the perverse shit, you know? And so this is where you get these different things coming from. All right. Men, first you might have men that's, that don't be with sodomy and shit like that, right? But then nevertheless, they start watching porno and they start watching all these sodomy videos or whatever, whatnot. Now they had an idea. Maybe I might want to try that. Maybe I might want to well, have basically the reverse shit done to you. Like have some woman playing with your, you know, your rectum and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Where do you get these fucking ideas from? Like sometimes I be hearing this shit, like I said, eating the booty like groceries and shit. When I heard that, I'm like, whoa, what the fuck are y'all talking about now again? Wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? And then come to find out this is some new trend that these motherfuckers is doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you ain't cool unless you eating the booty cheeks. You know what I'm saying? Years back, you'd be like, oh, you know, some women be like, oh, I ain't sleeping with him unless he go down and eat the box. Or the men be like, oh, I ain't sleeping with her unless she go down and so on and so forth, you know? But this is not a new trend. Why? Because it's so-called Esau Edom, the goddamn reprobated the damn planet Earth, all right? Bringing sexual perversion to a max, man. All right, this is what homeboys got going on, all right? It says, let me go back up. It says, and likewise also the men leaving the natural use of the woman, burning their lust one towards another. All right, man, they can't get enough. They want more and more and more and more. All right, if, you know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, it wasn't enough for you to just have sex with one woman. Now you just seen somebody have, like, 2 men having sex with one woman. Now you got to go do this shit. You know what I'm saying? Now that ain't enough. You want to see 3 men have sex with one woman, 4 men, 5 men, 6 men, so on, so forth, you know? You want to have this done and that done, this done, because, come on, man, you just burning in your own lust, man. It's just a never-ending appetite, all right? It says, and likewise also the men leaving the natural use of the woman, burning their lust one towards another, men with men working that which is unseemly and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was meet. So, you know, this what these men is doing. Like, come on, bro. You over here, man, I don't even want to get too far into all that shit, but just sodomy, man. Not just, like, you bending over another man and you plowing another man in his rectum, man. You know what I'm saying? Come on, that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, retranslate that more into a more dirtier terms and just see how fucked up that is, man. That's just nasty and that's just backwards. Nevertheless, verse 28, and even as they did not like to retain the Most High in their knowledge, the Most High gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which was not convenient. See what I'm saying? Like, you over here having sex, go back to what the original purpose of sex was, to reproduce. All right. So now men is out here having sex, but they not having sex with the purpose that it was intended for. All right. You just having sex for whatever reason, for like the wrong not the wrong reasons, but let me see, for instance, you got a refrigerator, right? The purpose of a refrigerator is to keep food cold and fresh, right? But you didn't take the refrigerator and use that shit as a bathtub. You see what I'm saying? Well, shit. I mean, well, shit. We could lay it down and get in it like you could if you didn't have no other choice to use it. But for you to go out and go buy a brand new refrigerator and you ain't got nowhere to store your food and you got this bitch to put food in there, but yet you gonna use it for something completely different, that's just beyond the purpose. Same with sex. If sex is supposed to be like, sex is the refrigerator, right? All right. And the purpose of the refrigerator is to keep the food cold. That's what the purpose is. So sex is supposed to be what? Like, to keep the food cold is to reproduce. But now you done took the sex or the refrigerator and use it as a bathtub. Okay. Instead of keeping the food cold or reproducing in sex, you having sex with other men just to get off. Like, bruh, come on now. That's just backwards. That's not even what it's used for. All right. It says, verse 28, and even as they did not like to retain the Most High in their knowledge, the Most High gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient. Being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whispers, backbiting, haters of the Most High, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful. These are all traits of these people who participate in this here so-called LGBTQ community. When you see these people, man, these people are the most damn demonic ass people on the face of the earth, man. They always got a problem, attitude, screaming about whatever, whatnot. All right, but yet and still, hey, man, like like, how do I say? This is something that the Most High, the Most High didn't really fuck these people up, man. All right, because of the shit that they was doing. Hey, that's their judgment. So I ain't gonna say that they shouldn't have deserved it. That's their judgment for what the hell they was getting. But nevertheless, man, hey, man, these people are fully destroyed, man. Because of why? Who's promoting this on the planet Earth right now? Who's the so-called head of all these things? The so-called white man. The so-called white man is the one that's promoting and pushing all these things. All right. One of the biggest things that America exports. All right. In America, one thing that is a bigger export than all the sports and entertainment that there is in America is porno. All right. I would believe porno might be either number 1 or number 2 like either one or number two, with the other one being bombs or military arms. All right. But nevertheless, porno is one of the major exports of America. One of the biggest things that they push out, especially over there in California, man. All right. They got all these young girls wanting to grow up to be basically hookers, sluts, and whores, Instagram models and shit like that, paid prostitution, man. All right. This is all the doings of the so-called white man. All right. This is well, that's not even what I wanted. Let me go to this is Deuteronomy 23 and verse 17. It says, there shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel. So there should be no whore amongst the daughters of Israel, or no sodomites amongst the sons of Israel. So the men shouldn't be over here having sex with other men, all right, or sodomy in any form, which is how do I want to say this? Penetrating somebody in their rectum or they anus, all right, or they butthole. You shouldn't be doing that. That's sodomy, all right. Dealing with the women, all right. You shouldn't be being no whores and none of this whore shit that you got going on. Being Instagram models, all right, wearing all this provocative clothing, knowing good and goddamn well all you women wearing these goddamn leggings with no underwear on, knowing your booty cheeks is clapping. And your goddamn vagina is showing all through the print of your pants. Like, this is what you advertising, all right? This is what you saying to men. Like, look at this first and foremost. It's like when you go to anything that they selling, anything, like a car or whatever, whatnot. They showing you the best of the best thing first about this certain car. Look at this new Lamborghini. It goes 200 miles an hour, this and that. They showing you all the things that would excite you to bring you in. They not showing you the things that, oh, maybe you might make you want to reconsider. Like, oh, this bitch only gets 6 miles per gallon. Like, bro, I'm going to be spending more on gas than it is for the car payment on this car. I might not want that. You see what I'm saying? Not showing the real, so-called, in that sense, responsibilities of dealing with that car, right? Same with the women. The first thing first that you putting out there, and first and foremost is, you know, basically a sex appeal. You selling your sex. Look at my vagina. And the simplest part about that is every female, well, we can't even say that nowadays, but naturally every female has a vagina between her legs, right? So they all y'all got one, right? But this is the competition that you women are, this is the level that these women are on now, where they stoop to this low level, following after Esau, where they have to advertise and shout out to these men, look at me because of my vagina, look at me because of my ass, look at me because of my titties, look at this sexual, this is what I'm telling you is my sex. You see what I'm saying? Go on Instagram, Facebook, or whatever these social media sites are, and show me some women on there that's not really advertising their body. That you don't see them with some low-cut shirts on, with their titties all hanging out. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just straight cleavage hanging out, or the booty cheeks hanging out. You know what I'm saying? Twerking, making their ass clap. They ain't got that picture where they turned around, looking at their ass and this and that. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, but some women be like, well, just because we dress like that don't make us no whore. Man, go on YouTube and look up the gold digger prank. For all those women that think that, go look on YouTube at the gold digger prank. It's the same thing. Just because I drive a Lamborghini, or you see me beside this Lamborghini, this Ferrari, or whatever, whatnot, don't mean it's actually mine. Now do it. Just because you see me walking around with a whole bunch of money falling out of my pockets don't really mean it's actually my money. Just because you see me over here with this and that, or whatever, whatnot, don't mean I'm actually like that. You see what I'm saying? But yet you women would be mad. Oh, this nigga was broke. This nigga was faking the whole time. That ain't even, that's a rental car. This nigga faking this and that. You know what I'm saying? They always saying some shit like that. But at the same time, like, yo, man, you know what I'm saying? If I was walking down the street or driving around in a Lamborghini, the first thought in your mind would probably come to, he got some money. Same thing we see when y'all walking around with your crotch all showing, the imprint of your whole crotch all showing in between your pants, your ass all showing, and your cleavage all showing, and all this. The first thing we see when y'all walk up and approach us is, damn, her box all in my face. You know what I'm saying? What else should we be thinking about? You see what I'm saying? And what if men actually, you know what I'm saying, did according to how some women would say on the surface level, ignore all of that and not look at you for that, and we would just be turning around, every woman would be mad and upset. And if you don't believe me, this is why women buy all these outfits and clothes and shit like that, to be seen. They want attention. If you don't give them attention, that's when they get mad, angry, and upset. This is how you get women to actually follow you. Don't give them attention. All right. But so what I'm saying is, women walking around dressing like whores, if y'all want to dress like whores and not have to be looked at like whores and shit like that, then, and if men start ignoring you, you probably walk around butt ass naked. That's why you in the state that you in now. All right. But nevertheless, let me continue on, and we're going to close out after this. talking about sexual perversion in Esau Edom, why we call him the devil. This is Leviticus 20:10. It says, and the man that committed adultery with another man's wife. All right. So if you want to go around sleeping with another man's wife, and this is the same thing Esau Edom is promoting. All right. And you'll say, oh, well, in hip hop, they always talking about I fuck another nigga's bitch or whatever, whatnot. But yeah, it's so-called Jake or so-called black people or Jakes that's singing these songs. But at the end of the day, who owns those labels that those artists are on? Who owns the radio stations and the media platforms to promote these artists? All right. Because for all the artists that there is, the so-called in the game making music and whatever, whatnot, there's about, for every one, there's about 10 to 20 of them that's not in the game. They're so-called trying to make music that's not according to those types of things outside the game that can't get in the game because they're not pushing that same, those same lines. You know, if they come in the game talking about fucking other people's bitches, selling dope and killing, they be right there in the damn music business. But yet and still, if you want to come in talking about raising up your people and educating your people, they don't want you in there for all that. All right. So it says, and a man that committed adultery with another man's wife, even he that committed adultery with his neighbor's wife. All right. Now, well, I'll just read it like that. You know, you shouldn't be sleeping with nobody else's wife. Put it that way. The adulterer and the adulteress shall be put to death. All right. So you shouldn't be, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, man, you shouldn't be creeping in your homeboy house or your homeboy old lady room or whatever. What you shouldn't be sleeping with none of that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's so and so old lady. Yeah. Oh, you got a man or whatever, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these women is taking pride and, oh, I got a man, but I'm still doing this and that. You know what I'm saying? Here it says, the man that committed adultery with another man's wife. Yeah, that man might have known that she had a man or whatever, whatnot, and he gonna catch the judgment for it. He gonna get put to death for it. All right. But then it also says, even he committed adultery with his neighbor's wife. The adulterer, which would be him, and the adulteress, homegirl, shall be put to death. Now, what if homeboy don't notice she got a man and she just sleeping around like that? That's why they both supposed to be put to death. All right. One, if not one or both of y'all should know this. If y'all both Israelites, y'all should both know this, and y'all shouldn't be sleeping around like this. All right. There should be not no whore the daughters of Israel. All right. You can't be talking, well, it's complicated. Oh, I don't want no strings attached or this and that. Nah, first and foremost, this is why you women are, you know, you grow up to a certain age, you realize your life is destroyed. You can't have a stable relationship with one man. All right. Scientifically, genetically, and all these different things, women ain't supposed to be having sex with multiple different men. All right. When you go into breeding these high dollar dogs and horses and stuff like that, they only breed the females with one horse. They don't breed with different types of horses and shit like that. Not even types of different horses, even if they're the same type. They only have one bloodline or one strand of DNA type going inside of them. All right. Same with humans, the same way it's supposed to be with humans. All right. So, you know, they'll tell you sometimes, you know, like so-called black people used to have these old little tales. You know, we hear these growing up around my grandparents and things like that. But basically, like, you know, husband and wives, you know, when people get together like that, they wind up having this connection with one another. You know, they wind up being able to sense what one another is and whatever, whatnot within one another. Well, it's a little deeper than that. You know, when a man is having unprotected sex with a woman and some of his semen goes inside of her body, scientifically is trying to pick up on this so-called foreign, I don't know how they say this, foreign object coming inside of her body. All right. And it's going to so-called attack it, but then it's going to also so-called try to get immune to it. All right. So it's going to try to build up its defenses with it. Now, if this is your wife and this person you just constantly having sex with, eventually after that body will be able to start accepting that man's foreign DNA coming inside of her. All right. It wouldn't try to keep rejecting it. All right. And everything will be smooth because they become one. Like the scriptures say, you're going to leave your mother and your father to become one flesh with your wife. However, if this woman is sleeping around with multiple different men, like a prostitute or something like that, or just got a different man every day of the week, you know what I'm saying, whatever, whatnot, her body's still going through the same process. First and foremost, this new foreign DNA is coming in. It's trying to battle that off and build up an immune system. All right, she had sex with this dude on Monday. The body's working on that process. All right, now here come Tuesday, it's a whole different dude. Here come Wednesday, it's a whole different dude. And so on and so forth. She's just getting all these different DNAs inside of her. So now, you know, on a spiritual level, you getting the spirit of all these different men inside of you trying to have dominance and possessing you. Now, come on, now they all fighting. This is why you have these women that just look at them, man. You see what I'm saying? You know, when the younger these women are, closer they are to the time that they lost their virginity, to the further off they are beyond that point, you just see something go wild with their mindset. And the more and more of these women are more promiscuous and the more sexual partners that they have, the more out their minds they become. All right. Now, I'm not saying that this come with age, because you could take an older woman who's only been with one man and her mind is nowhere near as destroyed as these same women who might be, let's say she might be 20, 21, but they ran through the whole damn high school. All right. But continuing on, it says, verse 11, and the man that lieth with his father's wife have uncovered his father's nakedness, both of them shall be surely put to death, their blood shall be upon them. So say for instance, like in a real scenario, right? My parents, my biological parents, my biological mother and father, like Jake, they divorced, right? And both of my parents both remarried, right? So not necessarily saying, like, first of all, you ain't supposed to be having sex with your mama, right? But in a sense, like, look, or if, like in those days, the man might have had multiple wives, right? So, like for me, my father's wife is not my mother, right? That's his wife, right? But for me to go have sex with that woman that's not blood related to me, that's still against the scriptures. It's against the law, man. All right, it says the man that lieth with his father's wife hath uncovered his father's nakedness. Both of them shall be surely put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. And if a man lie with his daughter-in-law, both of them shall be surely put to death. They have wrought confusion. Their blood shall be upon them. All right. Why? I mean, we ain't got to go too much deeper into all of that. But nevertheless, like I said, look, that son is already putting in his DNA inside of there. Now the dad's DNA going inside that same woman. Come on, man. You just corrupted. It's corrupted all the way around. And if a man also lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman. Yeah. If a man lie with mankind. So if a man lie with another man, like he lies with a woman, and now how does a man lie with a woman? All right. So, you know, any other analogy, I was going to say, like, I don't know if, you know, you had certain scenarios where you would have had two actual men staying and sleeping in the same bed for whatever reason. But nevertheless, that's not what that's talking about. Like today's terms, you might have like your cousins, you growing up with your cousins, you might have to sleep in the same bed with them. That's not what that's talking about. All right. Because you can lay in the bed with another man like that. That's not what it's talking about. Same with a woman. That's still not what it's talking about. The way to lay in the bed with a woman, like a man and a woman could be laying in the bed and not have sex. And that's still the same as like if you was laying in the bed next to your cousin in the bed. That's not what it's talking about. What it's talking about is them having sex. All right. So if a man lie with mankind, like he lieth with woman. All right. So a man laying with the woman to reproduce sexually, they having sex. All right. If a man do this with another man, it says both of them have committed abomination. They shall be surely put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. And if a man take a wife and her mother, it is wicked. They shall be burnt with fire, both he and they, that there be no wickedness among you. So what? Like I said, hey man, you can see all of this shit on the so-called white man's porno shits. You know, they always have these little titles, mother sleeping with their son, father with their daughter, brother with their sister and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like come on, man. Like we all know this from how we say like his little kids and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like real little kids. When you talking about getting the cooties and stuff like that, that's what the scripture say. Our spirit bear with the spirit that we are the children of the Most High. We already know about this shit. It's somewhere in our spirit to know about this. All right, but the more and more we go on and on following and listening after the so-called white man, we wind up becoming brainwashed and wind up doing the same shit that he be doing. All right, verse 15. And if a man lie with beast, he shall surely be put to death, and ye shall slay the beast. All right. So now this, you know, I'm not gonna spend too much time on this, but nevertheless, you know, you have Esau that be sleeping around with these animals. You know, bestiality is what they call it. All right. He'll have how do you say, a couple of different states it's still federally legal to have sex with animals. All right. So Esau Edom has been doing this from way back in the day, and I'm not even say way back in the day. He's still doing this up into modern days, because I used to work with this older lady and whatnot, and she wound up telling me a story about some shit, and I was like, well, she made a comment about something like, well, what is that? And she was joking about something. She's like, well, actually, it come from some other shit. It was called like stump broke or some shit like that, stump back or stump broke or something like that. Basically, where they was talking about they would do some kind of way they would lure a cow up against a tree. And basically a man would be on a tree or some kind of shit where they would basically be plowing the cow. They would be having sex with the cow and goats and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But this was something that they was, oh yeah, we used to do this shit all the time. You know what I'm saying? But come on, man. This is what's inside these damn people. This is why you are the devil. Not why we call you the devil, but why you are the devil. All right. There's no escaping that. All right. It says Leviticus 20 and 15. And if a man lie with a beast, he shall surely be put to death, and you shall slay the beast. All right. So, and no bestiality is permitted. No sleeping with fucking horses. No sleeping with horses, dogs, and all that extra shit. Putting peanut butter on your nuts so the dogs can come lick it. The so-called white man do all these things. That's why he the damn devil, man. All right. All the women on the planet Earth. All right. And he got to go sleep with dogs and little boys. You see what I'm saying? This the damn devil, man. A reprobate. All right. against everything that pertains to life. He's the embodiment of death. All right, Leviticus 16 and 20 and 16. And if a woman approach unto any beast and lie down thereunto, thou shalt kill the woman and the beast. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. All right, and so you know what I'm saying. And man, hey, this shit go, like I said, it's the same shit going way back. You know, remember hearing plenty of stories of things like this, especially like when the internet first came out, right? You know what I'm saying? They had different websites and things like that. Of course, I was a lot younger and didn't see a lot of these things. And the YAHAWASHI, I never did see any of these things. But nevertheless, they had little websites like Faces of Death and shit like that, where they would show you some bizarre shit, you know. And people was, I remember when the shit was going on, hey, you seen that video of the woman fucking the horse? Hell no, I don't want to see no woman fucking no horse, or no horse fucking no woman. That's no. But these are the things that Esau Edom take pleasure in. These are the things that homeboy like doing. You know, he even has some of these little things where they got this shit. I don't know what it's called, but it's like this thing where they dress up as like well, they got the one where they dress up like cartoon characters and video game characters, but they also got one where they dress up like animals and shit, like My Little Pony type of shit, like cartoon type animals, but they'll dress up like animals and then they go and have sex in these little costumes, you know, like like when you was watching Barney and shit, the costume that Barney would be wearing, they would wear some shit like that, but animals, and then they go around having sex and shit with that. You see what I'm saying? Going back and forth to them promoting with this bestiality. All right, this is the type of shit that homeboy be doing. This is why he the damn devil. All right, and you can see it amongst his seed even to the same day. Who do you know that's going around having sex with animals and shit? Who do you know is putting up on their websites and promoting pornographic images, perverted pornographic images for one, and titling shit, son having sex with his mama, the daughter with her daddy, brother and sister having sex together. Now, granted, they might not even know each other. They might not even be related. But the fact of the matter, you putting these titles up there, why would you put a title like that up there? All right. You going in and walking on these lines because you know that this is an abomination. But yet you like, oh, you was watching the title of this and that. You know that they wasn't really related, but you wanted to see that type of shit. You see what I'm saying? Continuing on, verse 17. And if a man shall take his sister, his father's daughter, or his mother's daughter, and see her nakedness, and she see his nakedness, it is a wicked thing. They shall be cut off in the sight of their people, and he hath uncovered his sister's nakedness, and he shall bear his iniquity. So look, just like what I was going to, having sex with your siblings and shit like that's not permitted, man. All right, that's against the Most High. But what is Esau pushing it for and foremost? All these scriptures I'm going to, Esau's got a category or a subtopic or something like this where that's what he's promoting. All right, where it says don't lay down with a beast or animal. Esau got some shit called bestiality where they go into that. All right, or pedophilia, having sex with little kids and shit like that. He got some shit like that. Mambala, Man Boy Love Association. All right. Again, look at his pornographic websites where he got mom having sex with her son, daughter with the father, the brother with the sister. You see what I'm saying? The orgies, the shit where they be tying people up and shit, defecating and urinating on people, man. This is the damn devil, man. This is the type of shit that he got going on, and this is what he's promoting and pushing on the planet Earth. All right. It says, verse 18, and if a man shall lie with a woman having her sickness and shall uncover her sickness, he hath discovered her fountain, and she hath uncovered the fountain of her blood, and both of them shall be cut off from among their people. And this is what these damn Edomites be doing, man. Having sex when these women is on their periods, man. According to the law, they supposed to be outside the house. You see what I'm saying? That was back in those days. Now, obviously, you might not have two houses to put your woman out into the outhouse while you in the other house. But, hey, we in Babylon. We know where we at. But nevertheless, you ain't got to be having sex with your wife while she on her period. All right, you can't wait, bro. It's not like it's going to be happening for like 2 years solid. You like going on forever and ever, man. Just wait. You see what I'm saying? They didn't have sex again. You see what I'm saying? But what? Who is promoting and pushing all these things? You know what I'm saying? Well, I can't speak for every so-called black person, whatever, whatnot. But I mean, shit, the first time I had heard about some shit like this, like, motherfuckers, nah, nigga, you nasty. But then you hear people, how do you say, make all kind of, how do you say, excuses. Oh, just go get in the shower, or oh, go get, put a towel down or some shit or whatever, whatnot. I'm like, motherfucker, that's nasty. Like, I don't want to, like, if I see my cousin, my mama, my sister, somebody like one of my close relatives, right? They get a cut on their arm, right? Like just a little small cut on their arm, and they bleeding and stuff like that. Now, I used to work in phlebotomy, so I used to draw blood, so I'm not really freaked out about dealing with other people's blood other than the fact it could be defiled. But the fact of the matter, like, blood to me just nasty. Like, I'm not squirmish, but But I don't want to be touching like my own, like I said, my mama and my sister, they got a little scratch on their arm, now they bleeding. I don't want to be touching your blood. Like you take some toilet paper and you wipe the blood off your arm. I don't want to touch that. That's nasty. Let alone like your menstrual blood, man. That's even more gross. Like if I don't have to touch it, you just having sex basically for pleasure. At this point, that's just nasty as fuck, man. All right, all kind of that's just nasty, man. Verse 19, and thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister, nor thy father's sister, for he uncovered his near kin, they shall bear their iniquity. So, you know, your aunts and all that, you ain't supposed to be dealing with them. And if a man shall lie with his uncle's wife, he have uncovered his uncle's nakedness, and they shall bear the sin, and they shall die childless. Same going into your relatives. You ain't supposed to be having sex with none of your next of kin. And if a man shall take his brother's wife, it is a unclean thing. He hath uncovered his brother's nakedness. They shall be childless. All right. It's going back up into sleeping with thy neighbor's wife or with your own brother's wife. You know. I'm gonna finish here. It says, verse 22. You shall therefore keep all my statutes and all my judgments and do them, that the land whither I will bring you to dwell therein spew you not out. All right. And this is some of the reasons why, you know, we was cast off, because we was following after the heathens and all these different things. But in today's times, you know what I'm saying? We just pointing out how our people are following after the so-called white man, the damn devil today. And this is why we call you the devil, because look at what you're doing. Look at how you had, look at, let me get one more precept just to, because that's going to make the statement I'm trying to make. This is Revelation 17:2. It says, with whom, talking about Babylon the Great, or which is ran by the so-called white man, these Edomites. All right. So whom the kings of the earth have committed fornications, and the inhabitants of the earth have made drunk with the wine of her fornications. All right. So let me get one more. Revelation 18:3. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornications, and the kings of the earth have committed fornications with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Now that's not talking about the kings and this whore and fornicating. It's not talking about people having sex. That's what it's talking about, is the heads of these nations is following after the philosophies and the doctrines, basically coming out of Esau Edom, being the head here in America, right? And so without these philosophies and things like that, or fuck it, we'll just stick with the so-called white man, the Edomites. They pushing all this homosexuality and perverseness around the world. But again, the majority of it all, this is basically where Satan's seat is at. This is the head pinnacle, the capital place right here, Babylon the Great. All right. But nevertheless, these are all the things that the so-called white man is pushing out on the earth and perverting the earth with his sexual perversion and things like that. All right. And this is why we call you this is why we call you the devil, or this is why you are the devil according to the scriptures. All right. With that, Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying into the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahawah, Bahashim, YAHAWASHI, Bahashim, or Chakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for your Akim pushing truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth, and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong and shalom.